It's live broadcasting and streaming and recording.
Did you see the rainbow that showed up on yesterday?
It was incredible.
It was a bright rain, we almost had a second one.
Yeah, we were having a meeting at fire meeting, we all we're like, okay, stop the meeting, I'll go out on the street.
What time?
Like 5:00?
5:30ish,
Yeah. It was a
or 6 o'clockish?
full rainbow. Yeah, you could almost see all the colors. And then a second one was starting. I tried to picture when the second one started to come up, but I
Colin,
didn't put the
do you know
camera
if John or Leonard are gonna be attending, or do we?
I haven't got a clue.
Not sure.
Probably not, or they'd be here, I'm thinking.
You were just must be doing
We're just ironing out some technical difficulties, it looks like, Natasha, shouldn't be too long,
Just wondering
hopefully.
about the significance. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for your, thank you.
Nice.
Beautiful,
Oh, yes, you've got the second rainbow.
nice.
Probably the angle.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, from our place, it goes from one hill, go to the other hill, and it was this
Nice.
complete arch, yeah. Did you see it, Casey? The rainbow when it came out?
I missed that one,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I saw one the other day coming in from the north of town though, which is quite nice, so,
Nice.
yeah,
I missed that one.
it's a nice place, oh, yeah,
I haven't seen one
Oh,
yet, we've
perfect.
had so much
Don't
rain
see
and
Colin.
sun, I've been looking for it,
wow.
you know,
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, yesterday, you might have been able to find the pot of gold at either end, it was so clear.
Where is it?
looking for the disclaimer, or,
Yeah, just,
I can read it off the
yeah,
text.
okay, perfect.
Just trying to remember, do we read that before we're calling the meeting to order or after? Before, okay.
Just 1 second, okay, this is the problem. Can't stream and then.
Looks good, okay. And you can see and hear us online okay, just give me a second, I can't see, there's a block, just a thumbs up if you're hearing everything okay. Thank you. Alright, I'll start with the meeting disclaimer for online meetings. So this meeting can be viewed in real time online and is being recorded. It will be available on the village website for up to 6 months. By attending this meeting, you are hereby giving consent to being visible online and to being recorded for future viewing over the internet. Also, information provided at open meetings of council or its committees is considered public. If you provide or disclose your personal information to us for that purpose, including delegations, presentations, speaking during public comment period, submitting correspondence or a written public comment, you are consenting to that information being available to the public, including through posting on our website or webcasting. So bearing that in mind, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:05 PM. And if I can get a mover for the adoption of the agenda for this evening's committee of the whole.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Adoption of the agenda is carried. Item 5, adoption of the minutes, the April 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. If I can have a mover for the adoption.
move it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, so our item of the night is number 6, delegations and presentations. This evening, we have a presentation from Natasha Edmonds, from her group Natasha Edmonds Engagement, and she's gonna provide us a presentation, I believe, for a professional and organizational development. Welcome, Natasha, thanks for being here. Yeah, whatever you're, I think we've got the slides up here, so you can keep your camera, yeah, we're able to see it, yeah, thank you. So no worries there, unless you want to. Yeah, it does. It's working, yeah. Thanks, Natasha. If you have a few moments, maybe we can just have the council have an opportunity, committee of the whole, just ask a few questions if there are. All right, maybe let's
I
start.
have some.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
Hi Natasha, thanks for coming, thanks for the presentation. I like a lot of what you said. I think one of the things that council has been interested in the past was getting this kind of training for our staff in particular, and that's been a priority and a concern for council because staff are frontline workers and often dealing with people who have grievances or are upset or don't understand the processes or whatever the issue is, and come with, you know, heated emotions and that kind of thing, and navigating those situations can be quite challenging. And so wondering how that might fit into your proposal, or if that would be like a separate one in conjunction with this. And then the second question is, I once attended the dance of polarization, whatever it was called, that Selkirk College was doing, which had like a much larger group than just a small team, right? There was like probably 200 and some people attending. And is that something that you would be able to facilitate with the community? Because one of the challenges we've identified in New Denver is that when conflict arises, we don't necessarily all have the skills to navigate it. And it seems like the world is increasingly becoming more polarized and more difficult, both with local projects and issues and global and national projects and issues that are creating tension within the community. So wondering kind of about like those two pieces and how they might fit into what you've presented. Thanks so much. Like members of the public coming to staff, whether that's here in the office or approaching public works staff out on the job site, and you know, coming to staff quite emotional, and they're upset with either some sort of operations that staff are working on or a council decision or what have you. But I think we've seen that nationally, the rise of harassment or violence against public servants and politicians has been seen and reported on, particularly because of the rise of COVID. And just, you know, people were scared and emotional and all these things, and then their communication skills were not as great. And so yeah, so we have you know, just like many other councils, we have, you know, difficult times when people come in with complaints, and then we'd like to better equip our staff to have more effective conversations and have de-escalation training and like that kind of thing. Great.
So any follow-up with that? No.
No, I'll go ahead.
Colin?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. Page 6 of your presentation, working together, your first bullet point. I understand what polarization and division means, obviously. Can you explain to me what othering means? I'm not sure. I take it as just trying to possibly view things from other people's perspectives, trying to put yourself in their shoes and understand. Well, I'm confused, but we don't need to belabor the point here. I've got one more question. Could you possibly give us a list of hopefully municipalities that you've worked with that should we need your services, we can basically use them as references and contact them and see how they felt about how effective your services were for them? Yeah, I think that would be pretty valuable to us should we decide to use your services in the future, or good to have your name anyway, possibly even the council that follows us might use you, but it's a natural thing to do is want to speak to, references you can provide us. Yeah, that's pretty well it for me, thank you.
All right, thanks, Natasha. Yeah, I just had a couple questions. One was in regards to fostering confidentiality and a safe environment for these types of services. How would you do that in a way that, especially from a top-down approach where we're looking at leadership such as members of council and or staff at higher level positions such as our CAO, given that, as Councillor Moss pointed out, dealing with a council or municipality, we might have some specific needs. So things like being in camera or things like that being discussed, is it more of a general framework, or would there be an opportunity to address specific issues, or could you touch on that if you don't mind? If you. All right, thanks Natasha, and yeah, I really appreciate you presenting again. Nice to have someone local, and CAO Ash. Well, is that
I just have
question?
a simple,
Yeah.
very small question.
Yeah.
So, FOIP request, so your session, because the, you know, council and mayor and council should be protected by the confidentiality agreement, but your session will be, anybody would be able to FOIP that request, because you are not gonna be as registered as a professional, what do you call it? Not a legal consultant to, yeah, so your session will be, people will be eligible to FOIP request your sessions, private sessions. Do you know anything about that? Just a question. Yeah, so let's say you have one-on-one on your session. Those one-on-one session, so if somebody wants to put a FOIP request for that one-on-one sessions, then you have to give them the information what
Are
happened.
you saying a
at that time.
FOIPA request, a freedom of information?
Yeah, FOIP request.
Okay, so he's saying, yeah. Natasha, do you know what FOIPA is?
It's a freedom of privacy.
Of
Freedom of
information.
information.
So technically, any like
Yeah.
business of council and
Yeah.
council documents and stuff can be requested by the public through a freedom of information
Yes, sir.
request. And so people can come into the office or do it online or have a request and says, I want all of the documents on, I don't know, tree pruning. And then staff and council have to give that person all of the information. And there are very specific reasons why something would not be provided
Right.
in a FOIPA request. And so the question is, if you had like confidential one-on-one sessions, how do we make sure that those
Yes.
wouldn't then be released if in a FOIPA request? Which,
Have we had any, we haven't had any specific training in this area per se. Outside of the initial outset of our council, we had some training, with other council members, a couple days, or, yeah, it was a day course, and then in-house training, but otherwise, we wouldn't have any specific, examples, I don't think, that we could lean on that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it was just like I attended AKBLG and then, you know, with the hall of 200 people, you know, Selkirk went through kind of like an exercise and it was like turn to the person next to you and like do a practice thing. And so like those conversations only live in our memories, in that sense. And then in my other job, I've done like de-escalation training with a group with, yeah, like same thing. People shared kind of like, oh yeah, like I've had someone come in and they were, you know, this is how they were interacting with me and I struggled to engage with them and de-escalate the situation. And then we did like mock examples where one person pretended to be the person who came in and was upset and then vice versa, you know, like that kind of thing. So not, again, not like no, I've never done like a one-on-one kind of session. But I think those more like group kind of training things would not be of concern.
No,
From what the
I'm just saying,
perspective.
previously I did experience the one-on-one, conversation that happened, the people actually could FOIPA that conversation itself.
Yeah.
I'm just asking that if there's anything in place that to, protect that, sense, in that sense.
Do you think it would be on our end I think it would be on our end to figure that out.
That's their end, well, our end, we wouldn't do that, but just a question that that's.
No, it's a good conversation. I think probably staying away from specific
Yeah.
situations, but learning competency and skill and using general examples maybe would be a good start. Yeah.
Which kind of gets to my final question as we were talking. Council will then like continue to discuss this at a committee of the whole meeting, like we don't make any final decisions, it goes to the next regular meeting. If we were to decide to move forward with part of your services or, you know, something a little bit different than what's quite in your proposal here, I'm assuming you could then provide an updated like quote for your services. That'd be great, yeah.
All right, no further questions or comments? All right, thank you very much for your time, Natasha. Thank you for coming and presenting at our council this evening, our committee of the whole. Thank you.
Thanks, Natasha.
You bet. Thank you. You too. Have a good day.
So he's gonna move to receive that.
I'll move to receive it.
I'll second it.
All in favor? It's carried. Okay, that was our delegation and presentation. Do we have any motions that want to be made as a result of this to send to committee or council, or that wouldn't happen right now necessarily?
That's just it.
Why not?
Or we could, I suppose.
If you go ahead, if you want to, it's, just to move it to council?
Right, further.
Can I pull it for more discussion? We tend to do that, we have like a delegation, we ask some questions, and we talk about it a little bit more.
Sure.
Sure. Item number
8.1.
Oh, under new business, right, thank you. Okay, so 8.1,
We're there now.
we're there. No public, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had budgeted money last year for staff training for this kind of purpose. So I'm wondering if it would be valuable to ask her to put together a new quote and proposal that's specifically for staff and do that as like a test run, you know, and like, you know, maybe that includes, like, I'm kind of thinking like phase one would be like present to council too, like what she's gonna do with staff. and then have her phases with staff, and they could include one-on-one conversations just in terms of like what are people, like what skill development are they wanting to enhance, what are they struggling with when it comes to conflict, either, you know, within the team, but more so it's that public engagement part, right? And then she could do, you know, a group session with them, and then the debrief, and then debrief with council on how it went, and if it all goes well, then we could look at expanding her services, because we're gonna have to redo our OCP, and there's a variety of different, local and global conflicts that I think are gonna keep bubbling up in the community, and if it goes well with staff, then maybe we wanna do something with council, or the future council wants to do something to develop their skills in navigating these kinds of conversations.
Okay, so just to clarify a couple things. Council cannot dictate any training to staff. Council will be dictating training to staff if something is wrong with the staffing. So council could put this as a training for council themselves.
Then how did we approve a budget item for that last year?
Budget item is approved for staff training is if staff wanna go, like give you an example. Jessica took a training for developing different things like grant writing, or Donna is taking an accounting, Diane is taking developing her skill set and things like that. Those type of things, those are the budgeted for item for the training for staff.
But when we made that budget, we specifically said it was for conflict resolution training.
It's true.
For last year?
Yes,
Well, I wasn't there.
no,
for
but that is what happened,
Oh, okay.
and then there wasn't enough time or an identified trainer. And so that's why we've asked her, because that didn't happen, and we voted and made direction that we wanted staff to have conflict resolution training, and we budgeted $10,000.
So is there, like, my question will be, at that time, probably CAO asked for some sort of council advice for training at that time, because probably, okay, so, okay, I could consult that with the staff and then see what kind of training, because staff, what training they wanted to take, they already scheduled themselves. Like they asked me that they wanna take to this and this training, somebody is gonna take this training, public works training, taking those training and things like that. But I'm not sure what at that time that was asked for conflict resolution. I wasn't aware of that, so yeah, I will look into that.
I got a question. Danica said that's why we've asked her. Did we ask her to present to us, or did she ask us to present?
We talked about it a few meetings ago, and I said, I know of someone, and so I asked her, would you,
So you
Tell-
asked her to send a delegation request for them.
I asked her to talk to staff.
So that's what happened.
Well, she asked her and then she asked.
If she would
asked me.
present, yeah,
Okay.
But if that is the case, then I'll talk to the staff, what kind of training and what was budgeted and what was the purpose of that. Then I could bring up to the next meeting to discuss. Because a lot of training is already been scheduled for throughout the staff. And I wasn't aware of that specifically conflict of interest. That was the money that was.
conflict resolution.
Conflict resolution.
Conflict of interest is a whole nother thing.
No, another thing, sorry, conflict. Conflict resolution.
We talked about points where you were having to come out of the office to intervene at times when staff
Yeah.
were having
Yeah,
issues with,
Yeah.
yes,
so it's still, I think it's still relevant, and
it's still relevant, I'm not,
We've talked about it every year.
yeah, it's relevant, but I think that over let's say last 12 months, it was really fairly, what do you call it, staff was fairly satisfied with the outcome that would be, and things that we in place for those kind of reasons, but public works still, have interact, challenging situations here and there. But I think that I could ask them, so I could talk to them in our staff meeting and let council know that, where their proposal and where their interest is, and then I will let you know. But if that was the budgeted item at that time, previous year, but this year, when that came from last year's budget to this year, this budget was specifically put it on staff training, not specifically item like that. So there was staff training, so that's what Jessica took a training, Donna is taking another training, and things like that is happening with the staff.
Cause that's where it arose from, was when we had our budget meeting, I said, what happened to the 10,000? Did staff do conflict resolution training? The answer was no. And then I said, I know of 2 different people who could do this training that are locally, and Mayor Casely said, ask them to come and present.
Yeah.
And I asked Salford College, and they're not doing that training anymore, so they couldn't come and present.
Yeah,
Which leads me back to my question to Natasha, is personally, I wanna know how good this person is. I wanna hear from someone else, did she do a good job? Number 2, and Ash commented on it, do we have staff that are currently having problems? I think Mayor Casely should be here, because Mayor Casely talks to staff. Between Ash and Mayor Casely, they would know if there's a real need for this. At $100 an hour, $3,000, just off the cuff, doesn't sound like much, but to me, $3,000 to us is a lot of money. $100 an hour is a lot of money. If we have someone that's really having trouble and really needs it, then if this person checks out and her references make us believe that she can be of some use, then by all means, if an employee asks for help, needs help, then yes, we should have maybe her and somebody else that we can offer to an employee to bring in and do some good. Number 1, she's a great talker. Did she walk her talk? Number 2, do we need it? Now, it's nice to have somebody, just like a list of tradesmen, it's nice to have somebody in our back pocket. If something comes up, then, and she checks out, then use her by all means. I'm not against it.
no, definitely, I mean, we could talk to the staff, I wasn't aware of the specific training, so I will talk to them, and then definitely could present a report to council for a solution.
Great, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion for that, or you're just good?
No, it's just, yeah, because,
Just a final thoughts from my side. I agree with Colin that reference checks we need to do that for anybody that we're gonna be spending money from whatever projects we're entertaining. But then thinking about being ahead of the ball, the old adage, ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We were talking about security cameras, we were talking about all sorts of measures, whether we needed a community service officer to be able to remove people if there's issues. So I mean, things may be, the waters are calm right now, but if we have the ability to get ahead of it, and there's time, and yes, it's 1% approximately of a taxation increase, yes, we recognize that, but we also value retaining our employees and keeping them safe in a healthy working environment, so yeah, competence is valuable, so.
Well, and we budgeted the funds and they weren't used, so.
Right, so it carries over. So I'd appreciate it if you could get a feel for things, but yeah, if you can get a bit of a background check, and I'm happy, I mean, I like digging in and looking, trying to find out history, but I think there's rationale that we came forward with
100%.
to try and make this happen, so.
So definitely, council made a budget specifically for that, there has to be, there was some reason.
Yeah, we increased the staff training budget
Mhm.
to include that, so it still says staff training, but that was the reason why.
Okay, yeah,
Alright,
I'll talk to all the staff in the staff meeting, and I'll definitely present a report to council.
much appreciated.
Thanks.
Perfect.
And then we can also ask her for an updated quote and
Yeah,
references.
they could take them, we don't have to take phrase 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe they do one phrase 1, or,
Yeah.
what.
And if there are other people that can provide the training if
Right.
we need to, but if she's local and she's
Yeah.
coming present,
Yeah.
See what her work is like, why not?
Sure.
I move to adjourn.
Alright. Thank you,
It was fast.
It was.
45 minutes past, not bad.
Yeah, is that a record or have there been